In this video, we're going to be building upon the last video of how to really activate your success and how to allow success to be your new master teacher. And today, I have my notepad. We're going to go through an exercise on how to really get through those like limiting beliefs that come up and really get it down on paper. I just grabbed this off my husband's desk in here. We're gonna do this. So what you're gonna need, and you can do, you know, if you don't have all of this right now, you can just sort of follow along. It's very easy to remember, but I'm gonna do this. And then when you have time, I want you to actually set some time for yourself. This could take anywhere from like 3 minutes if you just sort of want to get it started to like a full-blown evening full moon ceremony situation. In the last video, I brought up this teaching moment of how I had this very exciting moment where I felt very successful. I had this moment where I was making plans and I just had the light bulb moment. You know what I'm talking about? Where you're just like, oh, that's what it is. That's really clear. And that is my success. And I wrote it down and I felt really good about it. And I got into bed and I was thinking about how I'm so proud of myself that I'm having this breakthrough. Life is feeling so good. And then I heard a voice within my own mind that said, but what if I don't want to? Well, I kind of need you to. So like, who are you? What is that? So I got out a piece of paper right in that moment and I was like, who are you? And I heard nothing. Okay. Okay. How old are you? 14. Oh, okay, cool. It's my 14-year-old self. And pretty much in that evening, I ended up walking my 14-year-old self up to our boyfriend's door, and we broke up with him. And then we walked together away from the house and bought art supplies, and I totally gave her like a new way to work with her creative energy instead of pouring it into this guy that was really not all that nice to her. So that really got me thinking about these different modalities that I do, and I'm going to teach you one of them today. What I want you to do today is to get into the vision of your most successful life, okay? I want you to think about that, and I want you to paint that. And then I want you to ask yourself what the next steps are towards that success. And then you'll hear an answer. There will be an answer that comes to you on what the next step would be to do that thing. So you're going to write your first step, okay? First step towards success. All right? We're going to write that up at the top. We have 2 writing utensils here, and I'm going to get really encouraging that you do this system. Trust me with this, okay? Trust me, I know how to work magic with journaling and affirmations and all these things. It has saved my life. So you need a pen that you love that writes really, really well. This is my favorite one right now to write with. I've got other favorites up in my bedroom that are like amazing, and a pencil. Okay, so up at the top, I want you to take the pen that you love, and you're gonna write steps to success. Okay? This is the shadow work process that I'm talking about, but we don't need to call it shadow work because you're just doing the inner work, and it's okay, and it's natural, and it's how we evolve, and it's okay. So my first step to success, what is that first step? What's it going to be? So you write down what your step to success is up here, okay? Then there's going to probably be a limiting belief that comes up on why you can't do that step to success. You can't do it. You can't do that. Okay? What is the limiting belief? So I'm going to think of an example for myself, and you're going to take your pencil and you're going to write this down, okay? You're going to write down the small voice, the afraid voice, and you're going to love it. You're not going to be like, get the fuck. You're going to be like, okay, yeah, no, tell me. It's okay. We've got a system here. Like, let me know. It's a conversation, okay? So the little voice is going to get the pencil, all right? So the little voice says, part of me wants to go with like, everyone's going to think that's crazy. Well, that's a good one, actually. Everyone's going to think that's crazy. That's perfect, actually. Everyone will think Now, get honest with yourself. Is it everyone will think that is crazy, or is it everyone will think you are crazy? Very different things. Very, very different energies. But I'm gonna say everyone will think that's crazy. That's crazy. There might be like a lot of them, right? Okay, so that's actually how I do this, is like everyone will think that's crazy, that's one. And then I'm gonna skip down like 5 lines, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 lines to allow myself to write, or maybe a little more like 7. Use your numerology, sacred numbers, and just feel into like how much space you're gonna want in between all of these. But I think 5, 7 is about right. And then I'm gonna come down here with my next limiting belief, and then I'm gonna go down here with my next one, right? We're gonna get 1, 2, 3, about 4 on a page, okay? So the other one on why I can't take that next step to success, I don't have enough money. It's so expensive to do that next step, I bet. So not enough money for your next step. Now, it's going to be more specific for you, okay? So for example, like starting this YouTube channel and like really putting a lot more energy into it. I knew I could do that with just my phone. Like I did for a long time. I would sit at a window and I would just film with my iPhone. Okay. So, but for a long time I told myself like, well, I don't have the camera and I don't have the things and it's not gonna look the way that I want to. And now it looks the way that I want to. But I had to take those first steps and just tell myself like, so it was not enough money for what? For the lights, for the camera? Well, you're gonna write down exactly all those numbers, okay? What's the lighting system gonna cost? What's the camera gonna cost? What's the memory card gonna cost? What's the extra batteries gonna cost? What's the tripod gonna cost? Make your list and get online and write down all those numbers, add shipping, add tax, and write that number down and look at it and become familiar with it and make it real. What other limiting beliefs are lurking inside of me? The next limiting belief is interesting that I'm hearing is once you get past the first few steps, you won't be able to handle the next bigger steps. So the fear is, the voice says, the limiting belief says, this success won't be sustainable. It won't actually be able to sustain you for as long as you need it to. Okay? So not sustainable. Again, write out the full limiting belief. Write out exactly the way that you hear it in your mind, because every word carries information for you. It's not a sustainable idea. Interesting. Okay, we'll come back to that. Okay, one more limiting belief. If you guys want to comment with some of the limiting beliefs that you're struggling with right now, that would be very interesting and helpful. One, because other people would see that they aren't alone in this work. And that is something I just want to completely dispel that right now. That this is a process that every human being on the planet is capable of sitting down and getting really honest with themselves. Am I saying they all will? No, but you will, because you are committed to your success. So you are willing to become very honest with yourself, and you're willing to sit down and do things like this because you know that you want a big life. You want a big, full, fun, love-filled, community-filled life. Ah, here it is. Okay, here's one. I'm a mother, so my kids, I'm a parent, so I can't take these steps to success because my kids really need me right now, so I don't have time for that because I'm a parent, or maybe you are working a full-time job, or you've got like these full-time commitments, and you know, it feels like it takes all of you, so you don't have the time or the energy to take that first step. Time and energy are the things that are feeling like very lacking, and so it's like not possible. Okay, now we're done with the pencil. we're done with it. You're gonna have your notebook, and this process can take you as long as you want. But then what I want you to do in that same sitting is I want you to start to write in your good pen why this isn't true. This isn't true. Right? So now you're gonna negotiate. You're coming, your legal pad, right? You're coming to the table and you're gonna be like, okay, and you're gonna invoke your higher self, you're gonna invoke your guides, maybe you're gonna watch a few YouTube videos to get yourself all pumped up because you know what's real. Maybe you've got that book that always or music or whatever it is, and you are going to connect with yourself and the truth of who you are, and then you're gonna sit down with these limiting beliefs and you're gonna say, I love you so much, but that's not true. I love you so much, that isn't true. Okay? And here's why. Here's why that isn't true. Everyone will think that's crazy. What does everyone mean? What does that mean? Everyone will think that's crazy. Do you really mean everyone, or do you mean your dad or your sister? Or that one, coach that you worked with 5 years ago who you had a terrible experience with, and if you ever had to be seen enough and they're gonna find you, it's just gonna be the end of your world. Who is everyone? Okay, so you write down who's everyone, you get really, really on it, who's everyone, and then you write that down. Everyone will think that's crazy. This is so fascinating, right? Because we'll think, right? They'll have an opinion. Other people's opinions are none of my business. Write it down. It's none of your business what anybody else thinks. It's just not. Okay, that's crazy. That's crazy. Now, this one for me, I have that word crazy, man. If you are a woman, and that when someone calls you crazy, it's a special kind of crazy that comes out then, right? You know what I mean? Like the video, if you know what I mean. If somebody calls me crazy, I do start to act crazy. There is a little bit of, I totally have that, there's an edge there for me. And that word crazy is one I've had to really sit with and work with and untangle from within myself. So, and really redefine what's going on there when people think that something is crazy. Usually it just means that it's something they've never seen before. Usually it's ignorance coming up to be seen. Usually it's just their own limiting beliefs that they just can't see your authentic truth. Okay? So everything I just said there, that's what you would write down. You would write all of that down. Okay? They don't see things the way that you see them. You see things differently, and that's okay. You go through then, right, and you're gonna make notes and you're gonna respond to this up here. Okay, so we're gonna move on. Not enough money. Not enough money. There's so many reasons that's not true. There's so many reasons and so many resources on how you can do things for free, how you can borrow equipment, how you can make it work on a very little budget. Now, if it is something where it's I absolutely, but really, I need these specific things. I want you to write down those dollar amounts, and then I want you to start working with an affirmational practice with those dollar amounts and set a goal for yourself, 30 days, 3 months, depending on the amount of money that you will have that to invest in your next step for success. Okay? So that if the money stuff is coming up, you write down the budget for that next step, whatever the exact numbers. Don't make it too big, don't make it too small, make it to the penny. I want to know exactly, put it all in your Amazon cart and see what does it total up to, and then you write down that number, and then you write down the affirmation that's going to go with that. In the next 30 days, in my bank account, I will have a surplus of this amount, and I will be purchasing the everything in this next step. Now, to change the belief, right? That's a process to actually start manifesting the money. But then start looking into, with your money beliefs, with the shadow work that can come up around money, it's like, where do you feel it in your body? Is it a worthiness thing? Are you afraid? If you have that much money, are you afraid to be seen with a lot of money? Go into those deeper feelings and deeper reasons why you don't want that money. Does it feel safe to be like the victim who just never has enough? Just complain with your friends, like I'm still just like really struggling financially. I'm still just like, it's just not happening. We're really at the edge again. Does that feel good for you? Because it's comfortable? Yikes, right? Ooh, the shadow work. Ooh, shine in the light on that. Shine in the light on that. Oh my God. Okay. Yikes. No, like I can have a network of wealthy, prosperous friends. I can enjoy the money that I have. I mean, there's so much. Now I'm starting to realize, like, we really should probably do some separate videos on shadow work just around money, because I've done a lot of it. It's actually like one of the coolest journeys to go on, because it's so, it manifests so physically, like it's so cool, you guys. Like, to do your shadow work around money, get the prosperity consciousness book, and like make money, like it's totally safe. It's totally time. In fact, it's like the most responsible thing to do right now. Not sustainable. This next step is not sustainable. Now, I feel it's really interesting. These two feel kind of connected. As you're doing this, you're gonna really want to inquire with yourself and become very clear on yourself, like what you mean by these things, right? Like, okay, wait, like be very clear with the problem, and then you and your higher self are going to respond on why that's not the case for you going forward anymore. And you might have to get really serious with yourself and say, like, well, if that's not sustainable, I'm telling you right now, current events, current situation, current life reality, that's not sustainable for me either. So let's try learning from success now and see what that feels like. Just an invitation to the shadow. Like, listen, I'm not trying to kill you. I'm really trying to embrace you and ask you to join me on this journey, on this team, Limiting Belief. I'm asking that, can you just come along and just see, like maybe it will be sustainable. Let's just see. We actually don't know that. We don't know that to be true. It could work out differently. What's the worst that can happen? Seriously, what's the worst? Like, when you get real with yourself and you ask yourself that question, like, really, what's the worst that can happen? Everyone will think that you're crazy. We already dealt with that. Okay. I don't have the time or the energy, because I'm fill in the blank on the role for me, being a parent. That would come up for me sometimes, where I would just feel like, and let's be realistic, parents. Like, when you're like in it, especially at like under age of 3, I get it. I get it. But I have climbed some mountains with a baby on my back, okay? Like, if you've got a will, there is a way, and you can breastfeed that baby while you get that thing done. And like, I know that isn't the most ideal way to talk about motherhood. I honor that. I get that. I wish it wasn't always like that. But sometimes when your life is falling apart and you have 2 small children, it's actually looking in their eyes that you then see you are responsible for showing up and taking those next steps towards success, because their little higher self is asking you to do it. And that's a really sobering moment. That's a really humbling moment. So I'm asking you, if you've got that parent thing, and that's why you can't do it, it's not, that idea is not serving you. It is not serving your children in the bigger picture. There are good ways to go about making sure that your children are really well taken care of, and really, really loved. And, you know, if you are a parent on this journey, I'm just saying you've got, you know, I get it. You've got more responsibility. That feeling of just like wanting to give them so much life and wanting to give them so many options and opportunities. And I totally get that. And really what that does for us, it's such a blessing because it does ask us to up level, and it does ask us to put it down on the page and get really serious with ourselves because, you know, we've got a family to lead, and that's a big deal and it's a big responsibility. So, so this is the process. I do this, and this is the thing where it's like, okay, I'm going to take that heavy foot and put it in front of the other when those steps feel really, really big and hard to take. And it takes hours for me sometimes to just be able to take a next step because I need to get really honest with myself on why I feel like I'm gonna die if I take that next step. I feel like I'm gonna die if I take that next step. You can write that down. You can write it down. And then you can tell yourself, you're not gonna die. It's okay. Nobody's gonna kill you. You're really safe. I just had that happen the other night. I'm just bringing that up because I had that happen the other night. There was a new, final story, then we'll wrap up the video. But yeah, there was like a new council of guys that came to me, and I was just like, I feel like if I talk to you, I'm gonna die. Like it just, their light was so bright, and I was so afraid of being killed if I like shared some of their messages. It was a very real moment. So you have to have so much compassion with yourself when sometimes you're writing down these fears, and there's a voice inside of you that's like, that's kind of intense, like that's a lot of feelings, but you have to honor them. You just do. Like, I don't know what else you have to. There's not another option. You honor and embrace, okay? Because it's you. And you're incredible. You're incredible. You're incredible. Thank you so much for being here. I hope you like the video. I hope you subscribe. I hope you comment. I love you all so much. And I'm sending you the biggest blessings and all the miracles that only you could be so brilliant to command. So be it.